But one thing I do want to mention, and I feel so bad for Sanji fans because I feel like they just get done dirty. Why is it that Oda decided to make Sanji go all out? The Straw Hats have officially made it to Elbaf. Well, at least some of them. This is the official start of Elbaf, chapter 1127. It starts off with a fire in the forest. Giants are trying to figure out, well, what the heck is this fire? And they say something along the lines, if the flame spreads to Yaxdrel, I hope I did not butcher that name whatsoever. But it will be bad and they have to inform the sun god. I'm pretty sure that this tree, off of the top of my head, I don't know exactly the meaning behind it. I just know that in Norse mythology it's sacred, and just like hearing like this type of dialogue, it reminds me so much of Vinland Saga, which is an anime slash manga about Vikings. Thorfinn's a really dope MC. If you guys haven't seen Vinland Saga, you're missing out. Go ahead and watch it. There's already a confirmed season 3. But they said they have to report this to the sun god, which is really interesting because we know how much the giants look up to and worship the sun god. And it's interesting that Luffy, him being here, him being sun god Nika, what's going to happen whenever they see him transform for the first time? There's also reports that the ear god, that they've collapsed, and it's supposed to be a big rabbit like creature, which is important because, well, something happened to it later in the chapter. We cut back to the castle. Nami, she's freaking out, she's crying because there's different bugs, the ones that were mentioned earlier. They are trying to attack her. Zeus is here to assist her, but Nami, she's freaking out because she's all alone. She's like, well, how the heck did I end up here looking good in her Elbaf outfit? She notices that the ground, that it's something weird about it. I mentioned this in my breakdown of the last chapter. It appears to be something like a Lego floor, similar to Oda, what he created in his cover art. And so Nami, she's wandering around the castle where this big old, I don't know if I should call it a rabbit, bear, just this big old creature's looking at her, and Nami said something not very nice, and this creature definitely didn't like that because now it's going after Nami, where she ends up running into Usopp and sees him being eaten. This is pretty funny. I ain't gonna lie, I shit on Usopp a lot, but here he was pretty funny. He's getting eaten by some cat. And I don't want to say it like it's just any type of cat, because all these creatures are giant, so like, compared to like a normal sized cat, if you were gotten bitten, then people wouldn't really look at it this type of way, but this cat is ginormous. Zeus then ends up saving Nami and Usopp, but in actuality, Zeus ends up actually making these creatures really upset because Nami and Usopp, after looking at it, the cat that was originally eating Usopp, he ended up turning into a lion. So they're like, oh crap, well, what the heck are we gonna do? So they end up running away and are panicking, and this is where Nami, she ends up thinking back to what was said about the drink that they were doing and how the green fairy, it causes hallucinations. And so Usopp's like, oh shoot, we're hallucinating, and this cat giant, it might just be in my dream. So Usopp stands strong. He's like, oh, I'm hallucinating, and smack, gets hit in the face by this lion. And so Usopp, he takes heavy damage. He's not unconscious, but he's wounded. They're about to fall, and they're freaking out because they're like, oh shoot, like what are we gonna do? And guess who arrives? It's the cavalry, baby. It's not only Sanji, not only Luffy, but Zoro. All three of them are there to the monster trio. Sanji, he using an Ifrit Janbei attack. Luffy's gone into his gear. For Zoro, he's used his dragon twister, and they end up attacking this cat. I do want to mention before I talk about this particular attack from this chapter, I don't know the exact chapter, but this is an exact parallel from when the Straw Hats originally were in Alabasta, and these three are part of the monster trio. They ended up defeating the monster back then. It looks exactly identical. The only difference is would be the type of creature that was attacked, but nevertheless the boys are back in town. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're enjoying what you're watching, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. We pump out different content all the time. A few things I want to mention, at first, like the start of this, I think Oda intentionally brought these individuals, or these 5 here, because these 5, and besides Vivi, of course, because she's not here, they were the only few to meet the giants at Little Garden. We had yet to be introduced to Chopper yet. He came after that arc, so maybe that's why Oda decided to include these 5. I was a little bit hesitant for this, not because I dislike the characters or anything. I think this is a good pairing, but because Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji are so strong, personally, I don't think they should ever necessarily be together, or at least away from the crew. I guess, to be fair, like Robin's group, they still had the giants, so maybe that's why they're separated. It's not that big of a deal, but just looking at the power gap, it's like, yeah, Luffy, he's an emperor, he can handle his own. Zoro, he defeated King, and Sanji defeated Queen, so they can pretty much handle their own, or at least stall for a long period of time if they had to go against someone of like a high top tier strength. But yeah, I just think Oda decided to include these individuals because those were the 5 that were there at Little Garden. Now, cutting back to the chapter, it is really interesting that Oda decided to make Sanji use an Ifrit Janbei attack. I know earlier in the chapter they were talking about there's fire happening and like flames. A lot of people have said that maybe that's like Sanji's flames are so hot that is causing flames to linger. That is a possibility. Have to wait to see if it's blue flames, if it's red flames, or maybe like in the future chapter Sanji will be the one confirmed, but I do like that possibility. But one thing I do want to mention, and I feel so bad for Sanji fans because I feel like they just get done dirty. Why is it that Oda decided to make Sanji go all out? And what I mean by that is, why is he the only one using the power up that he got from Wano? He's using the Ifrit Janbei. Luffy, he didn't go gear 5th, and it doesn't appear like he's using Advanced Conquerors, or even Ryo here. And Zoro, he didn't use Advanced Conquerors. He's not using a King of Hell attack, or even Ashura, or anything like that. So the fact that Sanji was the only one that used an attack that or a power up that he got from Wano, like, why couldn't they just make him use the regular Diablo Jamba? The chapter ends with the monster trio, and we see what their outfits are going to be like for the Elbaf arc, and I'm not gonna lie, they look pretty good. I also want to mention Usopp. I feel like I did him dirty. I think Usopp probably has my favorite outfit so far in Elbaf. He looks pretty fly as well. But we see Luffy, he's here. He has, a hat, and, he has a cape. I believe there was a volume where Oda drew Luffy similar to this, like in the earlier stages of One Piece, where he had this sort of gear. But he talks about how, they ended up roasting and eating a rabbit, which I mentioned earlier in the chapter. They talked about an ear god, and that was the god that they ended up eating. So the Straws are already in some deep shit because they already ate a god. Then there's Zoro. He has a mask on. I think this is a reference to the mask of Zoro. Could be wrong, but he looks dope as well. And Sanji, he looks like a knight. Looks really dope. Reminds me a lot of the armor that he was wearing back in Film Gold when he was disguised as one of the protectors of the Celestial Dragons. But yeah, they're just doing standard things. Luffy's talking about nothing but food. Zoro, he's talking about the well-being of the other crewmates, and they need to find their ship as soon as possible. Sanji, he's all about filleting anything that he can get his hands on. But yeah, this is a really quick chapter. Not a lot really happened. It was a lot, but a little that happened at the same time. Really like the callback from the monster trio attacking this monster, seeing Nami, seeing Usopp. Really dope introduction to Elbaf. Let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.